Hey everyone, and welcome to the College Chaps podcast. On this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about, jersey numbers, which seem to be a bit of a hot topic. We're going to talk about life in the army, and we're also going to talk about dynasties or lack of dynasties. But first, with the College Chaps, I'm George, and it's a miracle because yet again, I am joined by the dynamic duo in a streak that has lasted just as long as this current heat wave. Oliver, Alex, how are you both?
Yeah, really good, man. It's Thursday, August the 13th, as we're recording this, which means in 2 days' time, it is 2 weeks until the start of the college football season, which is phenomenal. And if you listen to certain national media entities, they'll tell you it's 3 weeks and week zero doesn't matter. But we don't listen to Josh Pate, and we're excited for week zero.
Yeah, like it's summer. The sun's shining. It's about the same temperature as it is down in the swamps of Louisiana on the first couple of weeks of college football season. So I feel right at home right now.
Good. Swampy Louisiana. Right. Um, we will talk about
I
our
said the swamps of Louisiana, not the swamp in Louisiana. The swamps.
swamps. Okay.
Well, I thought he said Swampy Louisiana, which is like sounds like a adult film star nickname.
We're off to a pure start. I think that's a line from a Luke Combs song, but if you want to turn it into an adult X-rated explicit version of the podcast, what's new?
Why not?
Right. Let's talk about jersey numbers. Or more explicitly, the story that it certainly took a twist today. I don't know if it's necessarily a news story, but it certainly had gone under the radar. And I want to talk in general about superstitions and why players want specific numbers. But Jayden Daniels has thrown his toys out the pram this last couple of weeks about the number five being used when he thought it was his and it wouldn't get used after he did. In the same way as Joe Burrow, the number nine has not been retired, but they haven't handed it out yet. But DJ Pickett wanted number five, and Brian Kelly apparently promised him. What do you think, Ollie? All a bit of nonsense?
It's not like Brian Kelly to promise something that he can't deliver, is it? It's such a fascinating story. It is nonsense. Let's be honest. Like I said in the intro, August 13th, college football's nearly here. Like we've had the off season of stupidity. Like all the storylines that this is the sort of thing that should have happened like in June when we got nothing better to talk about. But there's players in schools practicing. There's quarterback battles being decided left, right, and centre. There is actual football. There is equipment heading over to Dublin from Fort Worth and from North Carolina. Like this isn't the time where we should be having these insane conversations, but we are, it's nuts, and it's multiple layers to it, which is part of what the modern era of college football is ultimately going to end up being remembered for is this kind of lawsuit threatening money wagering nonsense, because on the surface of it, it is someone in Jayden Daniels thinking his number was going to be sacred at LSU for until Kingdom Come, just for winning the Heisman. Didn't deliver a national championship to LSU. There's a little bit more to it than that. But like when you start scratching beneath the surface of it, like Daniels's letter to LSU is very much centered and focused around NIL and how long LSU had his rights to use his name, image, and likeness. Now he's threatening action on that because it's outside of 180 days after he left LSU, which is the contractual detail. Now he's a long way removed from that. So to bring it up now again, it's very much toys out of the pram nonsense. But yeah, it's crazy, but there's a whole storm around it, and it's not really Lane Kiffin's fault. But how does Lane Kiffin end up at the center of another college football offseason storm? Like it's crazy, and the thing with anything that happens now in college football is social media just takes hold and grabs hold and turns it into an absolute like circus show, because like Jayden Daniels there on Instagram today going look, I think we can handle this privately. Like DJ Pickett's there getting asked about what his thoughts are, and now all his comments are out there all over social media. Like Daniel's threatening to like have his Heisman Trophy sent back to him, which when you win the Heisman, you get two copies. One goes to the player, one goes to the team. So Jayden Daniels has his copy of the Heisman Trophy. Like LSU has their copy of the Heisman Trophy. He apparently wants it back. But like you never know who is actually telling the truth. It's a lot of he said, she said craziness that like typifies the modern chaotic, crazy world of college football because everything's done under the social media eye. Everything kind of, if you strip it back far enough, has some sort of financial connotations or argument around it, and it's just nuts. And like, I woke up this morning and like started reading. The first thing I did was read this like stuff about Jayden Daniels, and I was like, man,
It's wild though, because I guess it to throw this over to Alex, it kind of it shows that I guess the power has shifted a lot to the player because we've talked a lot about NIL over the last 5 years or even longer, frankly, until it came to fruition. Talk about players not getting paid. Ollie's already highlighted the fact that Jayden Daniels has issued a cease and desist letter to say they'll stop using my name, image, and likeness. And I guess it shows that the power has kind of moved across to the player. Two questions I wanted to ask you, Alex. One was, do you think a Heisman winner should have their jersey retired? And secondly, as a college player, what do you think about the jersey number thing? Is it as big a deal as it's been made out to be?
I'm going to be a little bit hypocritical here, considering we've just retired a jersey number this summer from one of our athletes who graduated. Um, but I don't love the process. I don't love the idea of retiring jersey numbers. I'm a big believer that you rent the jersey, you don't own it, and it's not yours. It's not your number. It's not your jersey. You're there to leave it in a better place than you found it. And to quote my hero Roy Keane, Jayden Daniels is just being a big baby right now about this. And yeah, it's not like he won a national championship even in that number. Like, I get it. I get it's a big thing in the US, but the jersey hadn't been retired. The jersey number hadn't been retired. It's actually really hard to retire numbers in college football because there's only 99 numbers that you can wear, and a lot of rosters have more than 99 athletes on them. So, yeah, you start retiring a number every time someone wins the Heisman, and some schools won't have any numbers left to give out to athletes. Do I think it could have been handled better? Probably. You phone him up and you say it's happening. But it also sounds like he wouldn't have reacted very well to that either. The best thing LSU could do is go, okay, yeah, we're not going to use your name, image, and likeness anymore. We're going to scrub your name from our history books. We're going to take it off every part of Tiger Stadium and anywhere that your image is in the program, that's getting taken down and replaced by someone else that better embodies our values. Because if you cave here to this, then you're telling everyone that comes to LSU, oh no, you guys are in control. If you don't, if you say no, actually, this is bigger than you. Yeah, this program, this storied history of this program, it's been here for a long time. There's a huge number of people that work to make this program succeed, and what you're doing is flying in the face of the hard work of all of those people. So we're just gonna go scorched earth and completely cut ties with you.
That doesn't make you wonder a little in terms of, and Ollie touched on this, the way that LSU have handled it. And when Ollie was saying that, it did make me think, is this just another story that's going to follow LSU through the season in the same way as, the Kiffin situation is never really going to die down because, he's either going to become a roaring success or he's not going to live up to the promise. I don't think there's anywhere in between for him. And I just wonder if this is how LSU as an institution, and going back to, the governor getting involved and, Uncle Tom Cobley and everybody having a tuppence worth that they want to throw into it. I just wonder if this is the way that LSU goes about business, and in fact, it's always going to be messy. But just, I think you've answered the question. But to both of you, just a one-word answer: should Heisman winners have their jerseys retired?
Well, that's a nice awkward silence for the
It
podcast.
isn't.
So it makes for great listening. Um, I know you only wanted a one-way answer, George, but I honestly think it's case by case. Like, is it warranted? I don't think it's a yes or a no. It's like I think someone has a season like Joe Burrow, and obviously this is the one that is getting used because of the LSU situation. It is like, oh well, Joe Burrow hasn't had his jersey retired, but no one wears it. Um, like Joe Burrow, that season he had in 2019 to win the Heisman, to win the national championship. Yeah, surrounded by the talent that he was, but like that's a season worthy of it. Jayden Daniels had an awesome season, and it wasn't his fault that LSU's defense was shite and he didn't have the same level of talent surrounding him. But like, it's not the same. Like, those two aren't the same Heisman season. I don't give it two hoots like which way you cut it. They're two very, very different seasons. I don't think it's a cut and dry situation. I got splinters on my backside from sitting on the fence here, but like that's how I see it. Like I don't think it is as simple as like a yes or no thing at the end of the day. It's like it's got to be worthy, it's got to be warranted, it's got to be earned.
Well, interestingly, LSU have retired four jerseys. I just googled Billy Cannon because I knew that his jersey had been retired. He's number 20. Defensive back Tommy Casanova, what a name. Number 37, Jerry Stovall, number 21. And when I was at the game last year, they retired Charles Alexander's number 4. We already know that number 7 is a really treasured number at LSU, as is number 18, if I remember correctly, right? So, but those are more handed out as rewards, as a player who epitomizes the spirit of LSU. I think the truth of the matter here is that if Joe Burrow's jersey wasn't retired, given all that he achieved during his time at LSU, short time at LSU, in the same way as Jayden Daniels did, I'm not sure Jayden Daniels has got much to shout about. Alex, I think you've answered your question, but year and A for Heisman Trophy winners?
Yeah, no, no, don't like. You need to be a once in a generation kind of player to have your jersey retired. I feel like.
I think someone made a really good point on social media. Doesn't happen that often. That's what a Ring of Honor's for. Stick up a Ring of
Yeah.
Honor. Put your face, your name, or your whatever on it, and you're remembered forever.
And
And to
actually, what I think LSU should do, and this is so petty, but it's so me to come up with this pettiness, is that they should send a cease and desist to Jayden Daniels to say that he can't say, when they do the Sunday night football and it's, oh, Jayden Daniels, LSU, he's not allowed to say LSU anymore. He's just got to say his name. He's not allowed to use LSU's name.
even worse, he's got to say Arizona State from his time there. Well, like just to put a bow on this and like wrap it up, like yeah, there's so many different ways that you can be. I think a program, to Alex's point, a program can honor and remember a player's impact on the program. But I think the saddest part of all this is like what Jayden Daniels has essentially said is there'll be no videos of Jayden Daniels, Heisman winner for LSU, in any promotional material. So all those cool videos that football programs do with like everyone's seen the Joe Burrow smoking a cigar, like the compilation of him running out of a tunnel with the Burrow jersey. Like the saddest thing is that Jayden Daniels won a Heisman Trophy for a program now where his legacy is completely and utterly tarnished
Yeah,
and can't be celebrated.
and certainly the feedback that he's received today has been, I mean, I can't say universally, but certainly in the majority, the feedback has been negative towards Jane Daniels. I mean, that's a fan base I think you should have to really watch how you treat them, and he's kind of burnt a few bridges in Louisiana, and I don't think you want to burn bridges over a swamp. Right, we spent way too much time. Actually, no, that was a really good topic to discuss. But we always have to fuel Ollie's ego on this podcast and talk about something that's not the SEC. You would have been delighted, Oliver, to see Jeff Monken get his extension, a 5-year extension as a head coach of Army. To be fair, he has transformed that program, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I was looking to spend some time with Jeff Monken a couple of seasons ago, in the pre-season, to talk about the work that Army does, Army players, and Coach Monken as a leader of that program does in the community away from the field, the things that they do, and a guy who didn't have to give up any of his time to speak to me, but ended up talking to me for over 40 minutes about it, and just I think that was such a great example of the kind of leader that Jeff Monken is for the Army football program. Before you even get to the results on the field, like there has only been two coaches in the whole of the history of the Army football program who have had double-digit win seasons. Jeff Monken's one of those two, and he has also had three double-digit wins seasons as the Army head coach. Like unprecedented levels of success for the Army football program under Coach Monken, creating incredible players and people off the field as well, and incredible success in the Army Navy game as well, which is the ultimate for a head coach of the service academy. Your performance in the Commander in Chief's trophy is what you are. That's your marker. That's your college football player for everyone else. That's your national championship for everyone else. It's your conference championship for everyone else. Like that is the marker, the Army Navy game, the Commander in Chief's trophy, and the level of success he's had in that. Not in the last couple of years since Brian Newbury took over at Navy, but the tide has really turned in that rivalry since Brian Newbury took over at Navy. But like Coach Monken has been such a stabilizing, driving force of success for Army that they'll want to extend him wherever they can. And I think doing it before the start of the 2026 college football season, like we've just had an off season where the coaching landscape has absolutely changed. Yeah, we talked about on this podcast before, like how many SEC coaches of like the turnover in the SEC of head coaches this last off season. Where you already start thinking about guys who are on the hot seat heading into the season. Army has basically said, look, if you're a Power Four program who thinks you're going to come and take and poach Jeff Monken at the end of this season, midway through the season, like think again. We want him here. He wants to be here, and we're committed to keeping him here. It's a really resounding statement at a time where you shouldn't really be thinking about what happens at the end of the season. But like there are a lot of coaches who are under pressure before ball has even been thrown in anger this season.
I have a slightly different take on this. Not that Jeff Monken isn't great, he is, but I also think this is a great deal for him as well, because this might be the best job in college football right now. Because think about it. You don't have to deal with NIL. You don't really have to deal with the transfer portal in and out because they've got service commitment and everything else. Yeah, you're not going to go out and recruit the best kids, right? But you know those constraints going into it. And you can start to build a system that really works with what you want to do. There's built-in identity, there's built-in discipline, there's built-in um, want to train, want to get up, want to be a part of this. It's a very high or relatively high academic institution as well. You have to be smart to get to West Point. You know, you are almost universally beloved in the US as well as a program. No one's going to cheer against you unless their team's playing you. So really as a coaching job now he's got that 5-year job security. He might have the best situation of any coach in college football right now.
It's interesting because I was just about to put it to you that actually he was doing it with one arm tied behind his back, but you put it in an entirely different way. and that actually there is some real positives to um, coaching in that scenario, which on the face of it might look a little hamstrung in terms of not having the full pool of players available to you. But as you've already pointed out, there's a lot of upside to that. Okay, fine.
Hey, getting to work with people that want to be there. Yeah, that's the biggest key. It's all about people. Coaching is all about people.
Especially in this, not to bang on about it, this NIL environment that we live in, where we talked last week or a week before about players who are only going to be there for a year and then they're going to move on somewhere else, right? That this kind of transitory lifestyle that certain college players will have, right? It was last week with Paige we talked about it. To have players who are there for a specific reason. But notwithstanding that, he has done an outstanding job. So well done to him. We should have touched on this subject when we were talking about Jayden Daniels, but I know you boys both love a good uniform, and it does at this time of year. Back to Ollie's point, there's not an awful lot to talk about, so we end up talking about everything and anything. And initially, I was going to bring up the fact that Georgia have finally. I thought over Kirby's dead body, but apparently not. Decided they're going to wear a white uniform this season, but actually that's been usurped by the Tulane Green Wave, and I think whoever runs the marketing at Tulane deserves the biggest pay rise of all time because Tulane just consistently come up with ingenious ideas. But the Mardi Gras uniform has now gone on sale, and I think it's possibly the greatest thing I've ever seen. What do you think about that?
It's just the greatest thing you've ever seen is a statement, and I think it's a worthwhile statement and a worthy statement because this is just a beautiful, beautiful uniform. And for a program who has had like a string of top tier like uniforms, like the the olive and blue like colors of Tulane, the helmet designs, the logo, like the angry wave. So everything that Tulane ever does from a uniform perspective is just beautiful. But there's a beautiful pettiness behind the Mardi Gras edition as well because they're going to wear them against South Alabama. A team, obviously, a program, an area in Mobile who kind of threw their weight around a little bit about who's really the home of Mardi Gras. And so Tulane to wear these against South Alabama in that week 2 game with the intricacies and the details in this uniform, like the point towards Mardi Gras, are just incredible. And like last year, again, these like city edition as they call them, Tulane uniforms are just another like level above what is already just an absolute like library of the best. Like I did a piece for what was then College Football Network, ranking the like top helmet designs of all time in college football, and Florida have brought back the signature F, the solo F helmet. Like they're beautiful. Like there's a lot of there you go, George. The good advertising field background there, George. If you're watching on YouTube, George's got a plethora of beautiful helmets behind him. Yeah, just but the Tulane ones just a cut above every time. I think it's the best looking helmet in college football, and they just continue to bring this just incredible designs out of the bag, which is a shame because under Will Hall they're probably not going to be that good this year.
Well, I mean, it's come back to there's a recurring theme throughout this pod about NIL, and I'm using NIL as all encompassing about revenue generation because they've put the jerseys on sale in their
Sold
NIL,
out,
right?
sold out.
So what you can do is, or you could do is, you could buy the jersey, but it goes directly to the NIL fund, which I just thought was such a clever idea of doing it. I didn't think they could improve upon the City edition of last year because, Alex, when you go to New Orleans and they've got those tiles on the floor, on the pavement, I just thought that was a stroke of genius. Not only did it look good, but it was also so incredibly relevant to the town that they play their football in. But to bring in the Mardi Gras, which I'm sure they've been desperate to do for years and just had to try and find out about it. And yeah, annoying their neighbours in Mobile, the real home of Mardi Gras, I'm sure is not going to go. But adds a bit of spice to that week 2 game.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. It's so New Orleans that it just like the decadence of it, the creativity of it, the fuck you of it, of wearing it in week 2, like it's so New Orleans like that, and I adored being in New Orleans when I was there, and this just screams New Orleans culture. Now, I do think it works because of that, because of where Tulane is. You know, it's in a city, it's in a major city, it's in a city that has a little bit of that fuck you energy about it, which to be fair, a lot of big American cities do have, you know, and I think some of the pro sports teams that do this city edition need to lean into it a little bit more. I think baseball's really good at doing it. You look at Los Doyas out in LA, although that one's a little bit um, fractious given how and the process of building Chavez Ravine. Lean into that if you want to know a crazy sports story. But like some of the NBA City Edition uniforms are great as well. What I don't want is every college football program to do this because yes, celebrate your identity, but like someone like Michigan, just be who you are. Who you are is classic. Stay being that. You know, North Carolina Tech, those programs that you can know who they are by their uniform, keep it. Don't do stuff like this. And leave the space for programs like Tulane, for programs like Oregon to go out and do something crazy with their uniforms. Right? Ole Miss, they wear the powder blues because this is the best goddamn uniform in college football. Like that is what we need to do, right? Blend tradition with creativity. And that's the beauty of this sport.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's probably a topic for another podcast where we go back and look at the well, I mean, there was a debate the other week about what's a blue blood university, right? And I think the scope of that is quite wide because what is a blue blood? But certainly, I think those schools, the Michigans, the USC's, the Notre Dame's, Alabama's, I don't think should mess with what they've got. But there's definitely a whole. I agree. I think Tulane have found a niche, and a good niche because being in New Orleans, which is slightly different and slightly left field anyway, it gives them a little bit of mileage to work with it. But as I said at the start of the section, whoever's running their marketing department isn't getting paid enough. I think it's been pretty cool. And now we can't buy one, so there you go.
Yeah, we'll stop that.
Oh, I'm sure the manufacturers will be hard at it again tomorrow. I'm sure they're going to knock some more out, or maybe it just needs one of us to get to New Orleans to go and buy some, but looking for volunteers. We had another 2 topics on the list which haven't made it. They've been cut. They're now fallen to the cutting floor. That's all the time we have for on this episode. Thanks to Ollie and Alex for their great input. It's lovely to have us all 3 on the podcast, and we've managed to keep it going. I've now jinxed it. I think we'll be at least 3 next week, I hope. Thanks to you for listening. Stay safe and well, and catch you all next time.